guys, it's me again. This is Nurse K, and if you're new to my channel, I do hope that you subscribe because I do think that you're going to learn a lot about processing your papers for becoming an overseas nurse here in the UK. So tonight I'm going to discuss with you the documents that you need to bring to the UK. Now, it has like 3 layers. 3 layers meaning from the most important documents to the least important. Basically, all of them are going to be important, but there are some specific documents that you'll be showing to the airport and documents that you'll be needing for your OSCE or whatever. So let's get started. So let's talk about the first layer. First and foremost is your passport, of course, and it should include your visa already. So it goes hand in hand. Passport and visa is already here inside. Another thing would be your e-ticket. So my agency just sent this ticket online. I just printed it. It contains the airline that you're going to ride into, as well as the date, the time, and the place, of course, where you are going. You also have to bring with you your PDOS certificate. PDOS is what we call the Pre-Departure Orientation Seminar. This is a seminar that you needed to attend to a few days before your departure, and it's a requirement from the POEA. So this is a yellow card. Another thing is your Overseas Employment Contract, or OEC. So my agency gave me 2 copies. I'm not really sure why, but I brought all of it. Next is your POEA contract. So this one is the contract from the hospital. Your agency should be able to give you this copy. You just need to sign in it. They're going to put a date and they're going to put some stamp, which will be approved by the POEA. The pregnancy test. So this wasn't really asked from me when I went to the airport from the Philippines or in the UK, but you know, the agency is still going to ask you to do this and you have to send them a copy. It's a necessity now that you have to have your own negative swab test. Make sure that you check online what is the accredited center for you to do the swab test, because if it's not accredited by DOH, then you know, the airport might not be able to accept it. So you could do the swab test within 72 hours prior to your departure, but for me, I did it at least a day before my departure. Another thing is the declaration form. This is just 1 page. So this form was sent to me by my agency as well. I just needed to fill it out with my name, my address, the name of my employer, my job, and of course my signature. This should be notarized as well. It doesn't matter when will you do it, as long as it's a few days before your departure. What is a declaration form? So basically this is just about you becoming aware that you're going to be sent to a country where you might be exposed to COVID. It says here, I am fully informed by government authorities of the risk of exposure to the COVID-19 by reporting to my workplace, that I shall comply with the prescribed medical and health protocols in the Philippines and of the country, United Kingdom, during my travel and stay in said country. It's a COVID declaration, newly hired worker. Another thing that's going to be asked from you would be your receipt for your swab test kit. So in the UK, it is a requirement to be isolated for 10 days as soon as you arrive, and you have to do a swab test. It's a self-swab test on the 2nd and 8th day of your stay. And it's very important that you bring you print the receipt. So my agency actually paid for this. It's £210. They sent me a copy of the invoice or the receipt. This is the one that says CTN at the top. Another important thing would be your PLF, or the passenger locator form. So the passenger locator form is something that you can get when you signed up in the passenger locator form. So you have to fill out this form. It's online. I might just need to put in the link so you can check on it. Basically, you need to put in some information about your name, your birthday, where are you going to work in the UK, things like that. When are you arriving? When do you plan to leave? Are there any places that you've been to aside from the Philippines or your home country? So those stuff, because the UK would want to monitor you if you're doing your isolation. Well, if you've already booked your own swab test kit, because again, that's a requirement, or else you will be fined, or basically you won't be able to cross the border. I'm going to show you how it looks like, but basically it's just 3 pages. it should have the barcode. This is also going to include the names of the people that you're going to be living with, your address in the UK, so you have to have your own flat or room already prior to being deployed to the UK, and your address in the Philippines. So basically those personal information. Another thing that I brought with me is my COS, or Certificate of Sponsorship. So this one should have been sent to you by your agency or employer already before you applied for your visa, because this is a requirement before getting your visa. It has 2 to 3 pages, and basically it just contains the name of your hospital or your employer, the address, when are you going to be flying to the UK, stuff like that. I also brought with me the offer letter that the hospital sent me. This wasn't really asked for me in the immigration, but it might be asked from you, so who knows. It's just a proof that you're going to travel to the UK to work as a skilled worker visa, in that you have an offer from an employer which sponsored you. Another thing would be the BRP. I'm not really sure if that's what you call it, but when you receive your visa, there's actually a separate letter that's going to be included. So this is 2 pages back to back here. So at the very beginning of the letter, it says, you must present this letter to the immigration officer upon arrival in the UK, and that's what I did. So I didn't wait for them to ask this document from me. I initiated. Last but not the least is the migrant workers application for insurance. To be honest, I'm not sure why I brought this with me, but it's very important. This was actually sent to me by the agency as well, and they asked me to fill it out. It's basically something that you will be needing when you go to the UK. It's like an insurance or the thing for your pension in here, because you would have to opt for that when you finally arrive in here. So let's go to the second layer of the documents that you should be bringing. These documents mainly are going to be needed for your OSCE. I believe they would ask you to show the original documents. First is the Certificate of Good Standing. This is the one that you can get from your regulator. Basically, it's a certificate which gives you a proof that you haven't done anything bad about your reputation as a nurse in your home country. I'm not really sure if this is going to be presented for when you take your OSCE, but I've been, reading a lot about it, and it wouldn't hurt for you to get this certificate. It only costs 75 pesos from the PRC, and it won't take like more than 30 minutes for you to get this, so I think it should be worth it. Next document is your IELTS TRF, or your OET certificate. So a proof that you have passed the English exam. It should be in original form. Another document would be your marriage contract and your birth certificate, and it should be from PSA, or Philippine Statistics Authority. Another original document that you need to bring would be your LUPON, or registration certificate. Another thing is your NBI, original. Next is your IOM, which should be valid within 6 months. Police clearance as well, with the translation if it's not in English form. So those are the only documents that you'll be bringing for your second layer of documents. Alright, now let's go to the third layer of documents, which is the least important documents. Now this is just my opinion, and it's up to you if you want to follow it as well. I brought my certificate of employment from my previous hospitals, as well as the contract. I'm not sure why I brought the contract with me, but probably because I would want to compare the salary that I got before to the salary that I'll be getting right now. You might want to bring your board grading and certificate of passing from PRC, again for not so sure reason, but I'm really obsessive compulsive when it comes to documents. Training certificates, all of the relevant certificates that you had when you were in the Philippines or in other countries, you should be bringing that. Why? Well, because if you're aiming for a promotion in the future, then you definitely have to provide the history of your trainings. RLE, or related learning experience from your university. The agency didn't really ask me to submit this form, but the agency where I applied before asked me about this. So out of curiosity, I just requested it from my school and brought it here in the UK just to make sure. A copy of your serology of your hepatitis B or MMR or vaccination card. It might be useful when your hospital asks you for it if you've already taken this vaccine or something, so I have that with me as well. your transcript of records or TOR, and a 2x2 ID. So I have some spare pictures at home, and nobody's gonna be using it there, so I just brought it here. As you know, we're going to be filling out a lot of forms, which is the basic thing that you'll be doing when you enter a new employer or hospital. So might be useful in the future. So those are the 3 layers of documents that I think would be beneficial for you here in the UK. But now let's go to the tips that I'll be giving you regarding the documents. First and foremost, you should be able to create a checklist just like what I did here. I created a checklist of the documents that I need to bring with me, because a week prior to your flight you're going to be overwhelmed about what's happening, about the things that you need to pack, about the family members that you're going to leave behind. So creating a checklist would remind you of the things that you should be bringing to the UK. You have to bring multiple copies of your documents, just in case you lost one copy, then it wouldn't be so hard for you to get another one from your copy. So with me, I at least brought 3 copies of the documents. When you organize your documents, the first layer should be in one folder, 1 copies each, and then the multiple copies that you have in case of emergency should be in a separate folder. I do suggest that you keep a scanned copy of your documents in your email, because it's easier to access it that way instead of putting them in the USB. Well, you can also put it in the USB if you want to, but for me, majority of my documents are in my email. So, I can just easily show it to immigration if they need to ask that from me. Always create a scanned copy of your documents in colored, because once you print it, it's going to look like it's the original one instead of doing it in a black and white form. There you have it. So I think that would be all about this vlog. I do hope that I've helped you, but if there are things that I haven't discussed in here, just feel free to ask a question or comment down below, and I'm gonna see you here soon. Best of luck. Bye.